Hi, everybody. This is Heather Coleman, your intuitive medium and spiritual guide. So excited that you're here with me on this Monday Learn video. And our topic today is specifically signs from your deceased loved ones. This is a question that I get asked so often. How can I better understand the signs from my deceased loved ones? How do I know what to look for? Too often, I think people will get a sensation or a thought or an impression of some kind, and then people tend to doubt themselves. They'll say, oh, that's probably just my imagination. So the first thing that I like to say to people is don't do that. Stand in a place of faith and love and trust that your deceased loved ones truly are connecting with you from the other side. And so the first thing is just to have your mind open and resist the urge to doubt yourself or to tell yourself, oh, it's just my imagination, it's nothing. Believe. Have your heart open with the love and the joy of a child, that these signs you already notice in your life are real. So that is the first thing I like to say to people is trust your instincts, trust your gut. Now, in addition to that, there are some common signs that are well known among certain circles, such as coins. For example, seeing a lot of coins around you, feathers. That can be a deceased loved one, an angel, or an animal guide, which we're going to get into a little bit more of that in our next Learn video, more about the different types of spirit guides. But for today, coins, feathers, those are some commonly accepted signs that your deceased loved one is nearby. And in addition to that, I like to explain to people that you have your outward signs and you have your inward signs from your deceased. So an example of an outward sign would be something that you detect from any one of your five senses. So it could be something like, let's say with your eyes, maybe you're driving and you see a billboard that has a slogan that sounds just like something your deceased father used to say all the time. Or that would be with your eyes. Or let's say you turn the radio on and your deceased grandmother's favorite song comes on immediately. So with your ears, oh, okay, maybe that's grandma reaching out. Smells. Maybe out of nowhere, let's say that you're in your car or you're in your house and all of a sudden you could swear you get a whiff of deceased grandpa's cologne or your mother's favorite dish, your favorite food that your mother used to cook. That's a sign from your deceased. So you're getting the idea, even tastes. I've heard people say, boy, for just a minute or two, I could swear I tasted a food that my deceased loved one and I used to eat together. Sounds, let's see, sights, taste. Touch is an important one. I think this is something that people really often doubt. A touch from a deceased loved one is very light. So it can literally be something like, boy, I just had this real sensation that I was getting a hug from my deceased brother, for example. These are all the sorts of things that I so strongly encourage you to step into and to just believe and trust yourself, trust your instincts, trust your deceased loved ones that they have such profound capabilities to let you know how much they love you and that they're still there for you. They're still right by your side. So those are just a bunch of examples of outward signs. There are so many. There's really no limit to the type of outward sign a deceased loved one might send to you. Now, there's also something I like to call inward signs. And these, I think this is where people even more may doubt themselves. And I encourage you to trust yourself. Sensations that come from within, such as maybe a thought just pops into your head. Like, oh, the thought of let's say my deceased grandma just popped into my head and boy, is she with me? Yes. Ringing in your ears or a popping sensation in your ears often is a sign that a deceased loved one, an angel, and or a spirit guide is letting you know they're nearby. In fact, one thing I like to teach people is that if you get just going about your daily life for no apparent reason, if you get sort of a high-pitched ringing in your ears, just be on the lookout that you might start noticing some thoughts percolating in your mind that have been implanted there by a spirit guide or a deceased loved one, because that is one way that they work. And the high-pitched ringing comes from the fact that they are in a higher vibrational frequency than we currently are, living our earthly lives. So that's the reason that we will sometimes get that cabin pressure or that ringing through the ears or even a whistling sound. So that is another sign that they are nearby. A warm feeling around your belly. So many things. Maybe the sensation of a warm breeze across your shoulders. Some of these things may seem like they're coming from the outside, but a lot of the real touch sensations, in fact, are coming from the inside because they are working through your aura. So that leads me to the next point that I'd like to share with people, is that oracle cards and tarot cards as well, but in terms of feeling very connected to a specific loved one on the other side, oracle cards can be amazing. And a really direct example I'm going to show you today is, let's just a case in point scenario. I've got this deck, which I love. It's Kyle Gray's Angel Prayers Oracle. And this is what the guidebook looks like. So let's just say, as I did right before this video, I shuffle the cards and I choose a card at random. And let's just say this pops up. There is the answer to your question. And I can't tell you how often I will hear people say, you know, I was really questioning for the last few days, Grandma, are you here? Am I reading your signs correctly? Grandma, is that you? Or Dad, is that you? Or Mom, is that you? And the next thing you know, the person draws this card. That is your loved one's way of saying, yeah, that's me. I'm right here. I'm in heaven and I'm with you at the same time. So, and for those of you that might not be able to see that too super clearly, the card is loved one in heaven. So just know that your deceased loved ones are always looking for multiple ways to communicate with you and to let you know that they're right there with you and that they love you very much. So one additional thing is that if you use divination tools like oracle or tarot cards, you want to look at the cards and you want to notice for any of the other things we've talked about, like that same day, was there maybe a sign that you saw, a visual sign or a song or some internal sign? Combine that with the cards. So I hope this video is helpful. We have a circle coming up, and the date of that circle is going to be March 25th, 6 o'clock to 8 o'clock p.m. And the topic of that circle is going to be signs from your deceased loved ones. So I hope that you can join us for that circle and learn a little bit more about how to connect with your deceased loved ones in unique and wonderful ways. My website is heatherlcoleman.com. I'd love to see you over there, everybody, and have a wonderful, wonderful week. Namaste.